from a land far, far away, coming to stage right now, the one and only, the Big Bear himself, Mr. Owen Benjamin!
I guess we're done. Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you very much. How are you? What's going on? Yeah. What's up? What's up? Have a seat, please. Relax. Yeah, it's good to be here. It's good to be here. It's been so fun being in a group of people where every person that comes up to me, you want to talk about interesting things, you know? Except it has been kind of weird how many guys have been coming up to me being like, dude, I don't whack off anymore because of you. And I'm like, cool, man, good for you. He's like, no, I got to tell you my story. I'm like, stop! I don't want to hear about you whacking off, man. But it's cool. That's good to see. It was an interesting experience coming here. TSA, as we've all seen, has gotten pretty intense. And I got selected. They said male-on-male assist. That's what they call it. They go, male-on-male assist. I'm like, it's about to go down, bro. And then you see some creepy dude putting on gloves, just looking at me. What's that, bro? You got the same guy. There's only one guy. But I like to flip it on him now. I don't like to be the victim. I'm no victim. Now when they come out, they're like, is it okay if I rub the inside of your leg? I'm like, you goddamn right that's okay. And then as they do it, I go, look at me in the eye when you do it. I want to see your eyes. And they're like, you're good to go. I'm like, I'll see you next time, won't I, buddy? Man, there's so much we can talk about. It's like, what's that, bud? We never went to the moon? Yeah, we clearly never went to the moon. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But it's a false binary. Like, when you argue over whether or not you went to the moon, you're assuming moon. Like, you know, see, I'm all about killing wizards. And I know how wizards work. That's how, it's as absurd as going up to a random girl in a bar and being like, are we going to have sex with or without a condom? Imagine engaging in that argument where it's like, well, I don't even know you, so condom. It's like, you've just accepted sex. You guys see how that works? It's the same with, did we go to the moon? I think we went to the moon. I don't think I'm like, what the fuck is a moon? I don't think you could even land on it, according to Dave Weiss. Yeah, give it up for Dave Weiss. Give it up for everybody that put this all together. This is magical. This is a beautiful experience. And, you know, it's interesting being really tall. You know, I'm 6'8", which is just an absurd height. And little dudes always come up to me and they're like, hey, man, you play basketball? I'm like, no. They're like, you're wasting it. And then they get sad. I'm going to start going up to short people and being like, hey, man, do you get shot out of a cannon? That's what you should do. Do you make toys for Santa Claus with those little bitch hands? That's what you should do with your little bitch hands. Yeah, I'm a height supremacist. The cool thing about this community, I found, is that you guys don't want to be scared anymore. You don't want to be victims. And it's like, you realize how much effort is put into scaring us. You know, if you look at Time magazine, like every generation has a different rollout of fears. You know, like Gen X had their own fears. They had Bigfoot, they had quicksand, and they had the Bermuda Triangle. You know, that's what a certain generation were scared all the time. It's all these movies. You're going to, you know, quicksand is going to get you. You know, is anyone here in Gen X? What do you do if you fall into quicksand? Does anyone know? You see how everyone fucking has a plan? Quicksand has killed 0 people in the history of people. It doesn't exist. And everyone's like, dude, if you go in quicksand, you got to go like a board. If you go in quicksand, you got to grab a vine, obviously. No, you swim in the quicksand. There isn't any quicksand. You know, it's the same with Bigfoot. You know, there was just some like naked Armenian guy in the woods, you know, and he just, someone gets him on video. And then the next generation, the millennials, had, what did we have? We had, we had acid rain. You know, everybody's like, acid rain. Joe Rogan's like, yes. Not that kind of acid, Joe. Thank you, fellas. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. No, I get it. It's like, no, you guys are a great audience for like conference vibes. I've done a lot of conferences in my life, and this one, it's good vibes. But we're not going to have that like energy like a theater, because it is an Embassy Suites. But we're doing a damn good job, and I'm proud of every one of you. And so, millennials, yeah, someone else said that we had AIDS. When I was a kid, that was what they were scaring us with, was AIDS. You know, it's like, if you skinned your knee in recess in the 80s, you know, all the kids would be like, you're one of them AIDS kids now. And we'd have to sit in the AIDS, this is all real. We'd have to sit in the AIDS table in the cafeteria with the other AIDS kids. Because, of course, AIDS was the real threat. So I was born in 1980, so I was right in between Gen X and millennials, so I had both the fears. My biggest fear was that I was going to be stuck in quicksand and then Bigfoot was going to give me AIDS. It never happened. You know, what's that, bud? What? It's all right. I like you guys enough, so I assume it's not a heckler, it's someone adding information. What were you saying? It's a hoax? What? Which thing's the hoax? AIDS? Yeah, I'm not buying into AIDS very much these days. You know, I fucked like 1,000 guys and I never got AIDS. I'm just kidding. Imagine someone just trying to prove it. They're like, listen, I'm not gay or anything, but I'm going to show everybody that I don't have AIDS. First thing I'm going to do is fuck Joe Rogan. Ew, I know, right? Hilarious. I just love ripping on Joe Rogan. He's just so small. What noise was that, bro? You hear that guy just went, ah! So how did we all get to this place? For me, it was having kids. You know, I had children. I'm really blessed to have kids. Make some noise for children. Have children. Be fruitful and multiply. You know, my first son's first word was more. He'd go, more. And so I'm like, okay. So I just start building stuff, and he's like, more. So I take him, like, I used to take him cross-country skiing, and I'd be skiing with him. He's like, more. And I'm like, eye of the tiger, you know. He's like, more. And then we come home, and I see my wife, and she gives me a kiss, and he's like, more. So I made another one, brother. I'm just kidding. And then he learned no, and I haven't done shit since. I just really. But what happened with the trying to figure out what our solar system is and what the Earth is and the globe lie and all that stuff, it honestly, one of the big things that happened for me, besides just trying to beat Savanier in a debate, but the other, I'll tell you that story in a second. But what happened to me is my son asked me why the sky was blue. And I was 37, and I didn't know. You know, he's like, Dad, why is the sky blue? And I'm like, you know, cut to 12 hours later, I'm listening to Crow 777, like, fuck! That dude's awesome. Give it up for Jason, too, his co-host. Those guys have some gravy. You know, once I became a Crow 777 radio member, and the second hour is pure uncut gravy. It's amazing. They get to talk about the real shit. It's fucking awesome. All right, so there's a lot of nonsense going on in the world. You know, I used to live in Los Angeles. Yeah. And I was in the entertainment business, and everybody used to always do nonsense stuff. Like my one buddy was like, will you do a walk? I'm like, yeah, let's go for a walk. He's like, for skin cancer awareness? I was like, outside? You know, but, you know, he's like, yeah, outside. Why? I'm like, it's fine. So we did the walk just to let everyone know skin cancer exists. And then later, I remember Halloween. This is one of the first times I realized I had to leave Los Angeles. We're all out for Halloween. Me and my buddy were both wearing sombreros. I was Jose, he was Hose B. We're a two-man crew. You know, and the same guy that asked me to do that skin cancer awareness walk comes up to me. He's like, excuse me. And I'm like, you talking to Jose or Hose B? We're in character, you know? And he's like, I'm talking to you, Owen. And at that point, I knew this little bastard was serious. So I was like, do you want to get a sombrero? You know, we can be One Direction if we get a third guy. And he's like, you can't wear that sombrero, white man. That isn't your hat. That's their hat. Right? And I was like, what are you talking about, man? How am I supposed to be Hose B if I don't have props? I don't look anything like Hose B. And he's like, that's cultural appropriation. And I didn't know what that meant because I'm fun to be around. I'd never heard of it. And I looked it up, and it basically means when, like, one group of people adopts something from another group of people. And it only is when people with white people do it, all right? So I thought about it because I don't like pissing people off. I was like, am I offending people? You know, all the Hispanic people at the party had no problem. They were like, oh, Hose B, it's fucking hysterical. I'm like, yeah, well, this little Jew over here has a problem with it, you know? And it's true, he's a little Jew too. And so I started thinking about it. I'm like, should I take off the sombrero? No, because if anyone needs that size brim, it's the whites. Because the sun is not our amigo, ladies and gentlemen. And I started thinking about it. The whitest people on the planet have the smallest hats. Jews, right? So these Hispanic people with beautiful brown protective skin, so the sun doesn't affect their skin, they have all this brim. And the Jews, these little pale guys, have these tiny little hats that look like they should be like swim caps for kittens. Right? Like, so I proposed the Jews and the Mexicans switch hats, and that's how we cure skin cancer. That's right. Talking about real solutions. Now you're walking the park, motherfucker. Switch hats. I tried learning Spanish. You learn a lot about the world when you try to learn another language. You know, Crow 777's talked about that. They had a whole episode about language. You know, and I was hanging out with some of my Mexican buddies, and I was trying to impress them with my new Spanish knowledge. And of course, we're looking at the moon. And I'm like, El Luna. And they're like, La Luna. La Luna. And I'm like, why isn't it El? I'm like, what does El mean? He's like, the. I'm like, what does La mean? He's like, the. I'm like, what am I missing here? He's like, the moon is feminine. La. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, the moon has a pussy. Right? Well, that's what he's saying. You know, I'm one of those old school people that think gender isn't chosen by your whims. It's whether or not you have a penis or a vagina. Yeah, sorry, Caitlyn. But I knew something was off when Caitlyn Jenner wins Woman of the Year but hasn't been a woman for a full year. You know? It's like, don't you have to be a woman for a full year to even qualify? This monstrosity is more of a woman than my wife, my mother, the people that create life. This old track star freak wants to chop his cock off and play make-believe. All right. So anyway, La Luna, and I started staring at the moon, thinking about it. The moon is very feminine. Everything about it's female. It's got a 28-day cycle. No, it's true. 28-day cycle, just like a woman, right? You know, NASA spent trillions of dollars to plant a flag on it, and then you found out they fucking lied. You know, it's like wolves howl at. They're like, "Oh, what you up to, girl?" You know, drives you crazy. You know, you want to write poetry to it. It makes you insane. It needs its space, but is always there watching, always listening, but needs its space. Goes dark a few days a month, pretty crazy, but don't bring it up. Just get through it. You know, that's a woman. And then I've been a big fan of the animal, the bear, for a long time. And so I was trying to impress my Mexican buddies. I'm like, la oso, the bear. And they're like, el oso. I'm like, bears have dicks, bears have dicks. The bear is a masculine animal, and it makes sense because he's big and he's hairy. He's trying to do the right thing, but he ends up just killing a ton of fish. And, you know, this comes. And then I was looking at my house, and I've been through a lot in the last few years in the comedy world. It's, you know, it's been pretty crazy. And, you know, when you start saying anything remotely true, they try to humiliate you and kick you out of their little clubs. But I still was looking at my house, and I was like, I bought that house from jokes, or as the Spanish say, hoax. And I was taking pride in that. I'm like, that house was from just me being funny. Like, I'm that funny that I have, like, acreage. That's from me. And I'm like, yeah, la casa, or el casa. I fucked up the joke. And then I realized that casa is la casa. It's not el casa. That's my wife's home. She made that a home. That's my wife's house. And if I fuck up like a big bear and she kicks me out, I'm forced to live in el apartamento. Would you guys rather hear music first or do a little Q&A first? What do you guys want? You want a little music? I'll play you guys a little music. I won't keep you too long. All right, I got to figure out what nonsense sound they put this on. It's like what is this? Hang on, the pedal is. Let me fix the pedal. I don't need the pedal, but thank you, man. To plug in the pedal. All right, here we go. We got this, and now we have this. Thank you, man. Hang on, let me change the sound real quick. Oh, God, we really are at the Flat Earth Conference. Everything is a lie. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Dubé. I'm just joking. This sound is called Lonely Moon. Did anyone care to think like, hey, he might want the sound of a piano? That's fine. No, we can have fun with this. 66,000 miles per hour. They say the earth is spinning around the sun at 66,000 miles per hour. Water finds its level on a globe. Did I just blow your fucking mind? It's like... Welcome to Grabber Football, ladies and gentlemen. Here we got NASA coming down on the 33-yard line, Tom. Looks like Buzz Aldrin is hammered again. Oh, but his mom's dead. Welcome to Grabber Football, the only game where everybody loses every time. Here we have the Seattle Warhawks against the San Francisco Sodomites, Tom. Here comes the Tampa Bay Bolsheviks. Oh, they're doing a Bitcoin toss at the 50-yard line. Only one autistic kid can see the coin, Tom. Oh, here comes Joe Biden to smell the kid's hair. Oh, Hillary Clinton just killed everybody in the stadium. Welcome to Grabber Football, the only game where everybody loses every time. Here comes Netflix to debunk the flat earth, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just kidding. I never even watched that. People were asking me about that. There was something called like Behind the Curve or some shit. Why do you guys even watch Netflix anymore? Like, don't even worry about that shit. They're all liars. They're all just let it go. All I do is watch Little House on the Prairie. Yeah, what's that? This is, whoa. Dude, this is the scariest Christmas song ever. Look at the moon! Have yourself a very Merry Christmas. You're gonna die, you're gonna die. I'm doing the best I can, guys. I'm trying to find a sound that's remotely like a piano, but instead everything is like, okay, to understand this next sound, you have to be on a lot of DMT. Oh, that's pretty cool. Dude, I want that to play every time. Every time I make eye contact with somebody. That's all it took, huh? How about that? I want this. Maybe this would be good for the eye contact. Man. Oh, this is like. Yeah, it's like. Welcome to Crow 777. The rain falls on the penis. That nigga stole my bike. ¿Dónde está mi bicicleta? El negro robó mi bicicleta. All right, I'll kick off a Q&A in a second unless I find something on. What is this? This is fucking, they're full soundtracks. Hang on. This is just me pressing one note, listen. I am Neil deGrasse Tyson. I just stole Owen Benjamin's bike. El negro robó mi bicicleta. Second. I think we're gonna find something here. More social programming has been done to that song than any song in history. Shut up! Am I being punked by Logan Paul? That kind of works. All right, so I'll play a song. This song's called Every Relationship from a Man's Point of View. There we go. Why are you mad? What did I do? Why won't you talk to me? We just woke up. I can't think of anything I could have done. Did you have another bad dream about me? You had a dream I cheated on you, and now you're mad in real life. Well, guess what? I had a dream I was getting raped by a clown. I'm not mad at clowns, 'cause I know it was just a dream. If you stay mad, that means you're crazy. Thank you. Here's a song called Every Relationship from Inside a Man's Mind. 8 inches squared per mile. We should probably see a curve. It's just not even about the relationship. If it's spinning 1,000 miles an hour, how does a plane land? Good morning. What do you think the moon is? It's just not even. What's that, bud? It's made out of what? It's made out of cheese? That's more accurate than NASA. Could be cheese. It's made out of pure uncut gravy, just pure Colombian gravy. I used to like this band called Coldplay back in the day because they had this song called Yellow. You guys remember Yellow? It went, look at the stars, look how they shine for you. And women and homosexuals are like, me, everything you do. And they're like, and it was all yellow. And then I realized I had some respect for Chris Martin because he's one of the only people in history as a rock star who admitted it wasn't about anything. You know, he was on Howard Stern, and Stern's like, what's that song Yellow about? He was like, yellow? I was trying to make me mates giggle. We were watching the telly and recording an album, and I was like, look at the stars, they're yellow. And they're like, all right. And then we wrote it on a piece of paper, and then we sold it and made millions of dollars. And Stern's like, yeah, but you're saying some true things, like stars are yellow. He goes, stars aren't even yellow. Maybe in a Christmas card, but not in reality. They're blue or white, but not yellow at all. And if you think about how many songs are lies, you know, like how many songs were just nonsense. I'll give you examples with just the word yellow in the title. Yellow Ledbetter by Pearl Jam. You guys remember that song? I used to love that song, and I realized Eddie Vedder doesn't speak any English. This is my impression of Eddie Vedder singing Yellow Ledbetter. Ready? On the ceiling, on a Porsche, her and her wanna lay her. Once I saw her, all the way, yeah. And I called and I said, and I won't watch it, and I call out, yeah, yeah, oh, here. How about a hee-haw, oh, hee-haw, oh, round the way, oh, here. Make me cry, yeah. You know, it's all bullshit, right? And then the Beatles have a Yellow song. It's called Yellow Submarine. And this is how that song goes. We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine. Fucking we all live in a yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine. It's just insane, right? And so they never said what it was about. People were like, oh, this song's about drugs. They're like, well, no, we're going to say it isn't. And so I have some respect now for Coldplay, so I started listening to some more of their songs, and I realized something fascinating. Check this out. Hang on, how's this song go? It goes. You're a sky, you're a sky, you're a sky full of stars. Check out another one of their albums. Come up to meet you, tell you I'm sorry. It's exactly the same song. A little faster. Tears stream down your face and I will fix you in a sky, in a sky. It's the same motherfucking song that they play forever and ever. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. So I started realizing something. Thank you very much. And so I realized something, that the reason I never had a #1 hit song was not because of my words. It was because I didn't play the right chords. So tonight I want you guys to help me live a dream that I've never had. I wrote my own #1 song, and I'm going to do it to the Coldplay chords because apparently that's the right answer. So I'm going to say the title of a song that I know you don't know, but I want you to pretend like it's all real. All right, so yeah. When I say the title of the song, like, lose your mind. This next song, I promised myself I would never play it again. But if we can go back in time just once, you may remember this one from back in the day. I know I do. It's called OTPHJ. What happened to my fucking pedal? Hang on a second. I think I just over, like, gravied the pedal. All right, there we go. We'll do it again. This next song you may remember, it's called OTPHJ. I know you do. You're in a Walgreens and your girl is looking sweet. So you take her to the back of the store, to the blood pressure seat. You take her hand and you look into her eyes. Before you know it, her hand is moving up your thigh. She's giving you an over-the-pants hand job in a Walgreens, over-the-pants hand job in a Walgreens, over-the-pants hand job in a Walgreens, OTPHJ. Okay, now that you know the words, I want a full-blown sing-along. So this time I'm going to go over the pants hand job, and you guys go in a Walgreens, and you're fucking crying. I want, like, full-blown emotions. All right. This next song you may remember from back in the day. It's called OTPHJ. Shh. You're in a Walgreens. Oh, real quick, I want a second applause break at You're in a Walgreens. Because John fucking Lennon gets that with this nonsense where he's like, imagine there's no heaven. And everyone's like, atheism! So, it's insane. Imagine no possessions. Yeah, why don't you give me your big white grand piano there, John? Imagine there's no countries. Then move to Nigeria, John. All right. So when I say you're in a Walgreens, just complete explosion. And make it real. Feel it. This next song, I promised someone very special I'd never play it again. But if we can go back in time just once, you may remember this one from back in the day. It's called OTPHJ. Fuck you, CVS. You're in a Walgreens and your girl is looking sweet. So you take her to the back of the store, to the blood pressure seat. You take her hand and you look deep into those eyes. Before you know it, her hand is moving up your thigh. She's giving you an over-the-pants hand job. Over-the-pants hand job. Over-the-pants hand job. OTPHJ. You were discreet. The clerk didn't know what you were up to. But baby, it's time to go, 'cause they gotta clean up in aisle 2. 'Cause you got an over-the-pants hand job. 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 And it was all yellow. Thank you. All right, let's do a little Q&A if you guys want. And, oh, thanks, pal. Oh, nice water. This one guy had a really good question before the show started. I figured I'd bring him up here to ask the question. Matt, if you're around, come up here and ask your question, buddy. It was a fantastic question. Where's Matt at? Matty, come up here. All right, so Matt has a good question. Let's hear what he has to say.
What's up, brother? How's it going? Good. Hey, guys, thank you. My name is Matt. I'm this regular dude here with my girlfriend. We want to have a homestead one day and have a bunch of kids. Victoria, why don't you come up?
Get up here, Victoria.
All right. So, this is my girlfriend, Victoria. All right.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
Appreciate it,
Congratulations. Of course. One more time for the new, they're engaged. That's amazing. What's that? Somebody asked me my shoes untied? I'm going to have to untie them when I go to bed anyway. It's true. I think people tripping on their shoelace is more fear porn. It's like, I've never tripped on my shoelace. I never tie my shoes. All right, so does anybody have any questions for me before I get out of here? And again, one more time for the new couple. That's what life's all about. You know, family's everything. Family's everything. And all of these lies and all this shame and all this bullshit is to keep you from that simple thing right there of, you know, a man getting on his knees, proposing, and then making life with that beautiful cock of his. Just kidding. I just wanted to say something creepy because I was feeling a little too emotional. All right, so anybody have any questions for me? Explain Savanier. Okay, so you guys owe a lot of gratitude to this guy named Eric Dubay, and I'll tell you why. It's not why you think, so relax. He was so abrasive and so annoying with all his people being like, you won't debate Savanier. At the time his name was Eric Dubay, but I named him Savanier. They're like, you won't debate Savanier because he will prove that the earth is flat. And I was like, fuck this guy. So I got all my guys together and I'm like, give me all the globe proofs you got. I'm about to turn this asshole into dust. And then the more they gave me globe proof, the more I was like, more though. And I'm dead serious. So as annoying as Savanier is, because he's annoying, he's like, why won't you debate me? I'm here. I'm like, just in the male hierarchy, that's just not how we behave. So but he's been right about a lot, and he's the one who antagonized me into facing, because I'm a competitive person. I don't do things that I think I'm going to fail at. I don't lie to myself because it's weakness. Those are Achilles' heels in war, right? You know, it's like, no, my shield is great. It's like, it's made out of glass. You're stupid. No, get a better shield, you know? And so when I realized the globe argument was total nonsense, I had to face the reality that we're not on a spinning ball, and it's great. People shouldn't be afraid of that. It makes more sense. And so, despite Savonier's annoyance, it's like that's kind of what woke me up to it, because my competition, my desire to beat him, is the reason that I had to face the reality that you can't prove a spinning globe to the point where it becomes like you almost take it personally, where you're like trying to track down your third grade teacher and like, why'd you lie to me, bitch? But they didn't know. They didn't know. You know, that's a big part of this process is forgiveness, where it's like they didn't know it was flat. Does anyone else have any questions? What's up, bro? How does homosexuality help us win the culture war? It doesn't. You know, the thing about sodomy, I joke about it a lot, but there's some real aspects to this. Sodomy and usury, there's a reason they're in the same level of hell in Dante's Inferno. It's because, as the great E. Michael Jones said, it takes that which is fertile and makes it sterile, and that which is sterile and makes it fertile. There's a reason that it's bad, and it's not because, I can't have gay friends or like, that's such a nonsense argument. It's because it's taking the act of life creation and making it sterile, and then fiat currency is taking that which is dead and giving it fake life. And they're in the same binary together, creating evil. And I'm not blaming the homosexual in a sense. I'm blaming the evangelical homosexuals, where it's like, everyone should be like me. I can't stand those people. It's one thing if someone's brain's wired a little wacky and they're like, hey, man, I just, I'm into this shit. And I'm like, all right, buddy. We can still be buddies. Just don't ever bring it up around anybody I care about. But it's the ones that are like, oh, vaginas are disgusting. Like, you're gross. Like, vaginas are gross. I'm like, you really want to do this? I mean, like, I don't want to get graphic because I think there might be some kids in the room, but vaginas are not gross and assholes are insanely disgusting. Like, fertile sex makes life, which is great, and sodomy makes fake AIDS and death. All right, any other questions? What's up? No, quicksand was a bitch. Want to know what's a bitch for people is dinosaurs. That one hurt. That hurt way more than the globe for me. Like, to find out that dinosaurs were a Smithsonian live in the Royal Society from like the 1840s, it's all nonsense. Like, literally fucking nonsense. That hurt. I was like, I'm 39 wearing my dinosaur PJs, like, what? No, but quicksand isn't real either. And by the way, being my size, quicksand is extra horrifying because at 6'8", it would take an absurd amount of time. So I'd be in quicksand like, oh no! And I'd be like 3 hours later, I'm like, how have I overcome censorship? It's not a fight between you and these converged nonsense companies, it's a fight between you and yourself. Because I've been kicked off everything, demonetized, all that. All it did, so I was briefly making a lot of fake, sterile money on YouTube. And they demonetized me, and at that point I'd seen the evil that is the Babylonian magic square of the fiat. And people just started mailing me silver and seeds and shit. And it was great. No, me and Dave Weiss were talking about this. We call it crumbling upwards, where it's like every time you think that they've shooken you and taken something from you, you realize that they've just backed you into a better pasture. It's like censorship is all a battle between you and yourself. The time when censorship happens is when you hesitate out of fear. That's it. And it's like, I have a song called That Nigger Stole My Bike, and I don't call black people that. I did once when I was 9 and someone stole my bike. He was black. But I did that song because I wanted to do a joke with a word in it that was so taboo. okay, the N-word is absurd. If you ever say the N-word, you've cucked yourself. Because I will argue right now that necrophilia is infinitely more offensive than nigger. That's sex with dead bodies. So if someone's like, oh, that nigger stole my bike, it's like, hey man, my neighbor's cousin's mailman is black. And I'm like, dude, I know a guy that died and someone fucked him. It's pretty profound. It'll take you a little while to think about that, but it's nonsense. And it's also this bizarre notion that you can take a black person's autonomy by uttering a word like fucking like a wizard. It's bizarrely inverse. Like the concept of saying N-word is more this concept of racist than not saying N-word. It's the exact opposite. It's treating black people like children, like they can't handle a word. It's fucking insane. And so I wouldn't just rant about it and do jokes like Louis C.K. would do a joke about the word. I wanted to do a joke with the word in it where I didn't make it about whether or not I'm allowed to say it or not. And I just took the arrows for it. And I'm glad I did. And that was an element of censorship fighting where it's like, I won't censor myself based on nonsense. Because once you do, you lose your word, your logos. And never give that up. Let them kill your YouTube channels. Let them kick you out of clubs. I used to have, because my fancy pants and lollipops, everyone has a satanic Achilles, right? Mine was never money. It was, I liked the status I had at the Hollywood Improv. They painted me in the mural. I was hanging on the wall like a conquering gladiator. And I could walk in there any night of the week, and famous people would be like, hey, man, I can't wait to see your new jokes and stuff. They took down my picture. They persona non grata'd me because of my stance against trans child abuse, the child abuse, which is trans children. And they called me all these names and all that stuff, and that did hurt. But once I realized that that's all a nonsense loop, it never ends, then you're free. They're literally kicking you out of hell. And when people, it's one thing if you're at the dinner table and you're like, admit it's flat, Grandma. Like they have a right to think you're annoying. But if they disown you or don't want to be your friend because they find out that you have realized that we're not on a spinning globe, it's on them, not you. And they can come back. I've seen them come back. I've seen them apologize. So don't, there's a lot of forgiveness involved in this. Like getting angry at people for believing what you believed 5 years ago is an Achilles heel of this community that I've experienced, you've experienced. It's like, fuck you, globetard. It's like, are you talking to a mirror from 5 years ago? Are you in Dante's Inferno? And so that's my advice, because a lot of people come up to me and I inadvertently woke a lot of people up to the globe lie because of how I did it. Wasn't like, you're so stupid if you don't see it. I was showing my vulnerability. I was showing I don't want to be a flat earther. I don't want to do this. I want to win. I want to stay in the side of the normal people. And then eventually I had to face reality, and that's it. What up? You in the back. Is the Flat Earth Conference the best thing I've ever been to? No, but it's the best conference I've ever been to. And that's a fact. It's like I slept a lot during the day today because I had gravy overload last night. I'm talking to people. One guy created a Tesla coil. Someone else is telling me about how everything's electricity. I'm always just like, yeah. Weiss comes out of nowhere. He's like, dude, Libya had aquifers. And I'm like, yeah. And so it's just, that's like heaven to me. But I do need to recharge. I'm a giant. What's up? Bigfoot's real? As a giant, I do not appreciate, no, I'm just kidding. I don't think Bigfoot's real. No, I just don't. There's all the evidence in the world says the earth is not a spinning ball. Bigfoot is a jump. Here's the irony about me. I don't really take a lot of jumps unless I see a lot of evidence. I am Bigfoot. That's why I've never seen him. I'm always looking for Bigfoot, and everyone's like, Bigfoot. And I'm like, where is he? the whole time, it's almost like The Sixth Sense. Like, I was the dead guy the whole time. Like, it turns out, I'm like, Bigfoot isn't real. And everyone's like, Bigfoot, you know, like Japanese people. That'd be hysterical if it turned out I was actually Bigfoot. The people just keep taking pictures of me in the wilderness. How's my wife down? She's so grounded. You know, she doesn't care. I mean, she cares about my happiness. So she's like, you know, do you want to talk about Antarctica for a bit? I'm like, is that okay? And she's like, yeah, we can talk about Antarctica. But she's now, you know, it's not her passion. Her passion is our kids and the animals, and she never was uncomfortable about any of this. I mean, she married me. Like, you know, as I was getting kicked out of Hollywood, Vice News said that I had a brain worm. You know, so I've been in this a while, man. She doesn't give a shit about what people say about me. She loves me. So it's like, and she doesn't care about online shit. Thanks. Just what? Do you guys know about David Weiss's app? By the way, give it up for David Weiss. David Weiss took all his Jew powers of marketing and app making, and he made it selfless. He's the selfless Jew. He really is. He's not doing it, like, once I really, because I got some pretty decent antenna for people. Once I realized he's passionately trying to show people this world, and the app is an incredible way to do that. And it was so funny seeing all his Jew powers of marketing and app making, but none of it was out of greed. You know, he's a Junicorn. So one more time for Dave Weiss. Any other questions? Where do I live? That's being a little aggressive, gay guy. No, I live in Washington State. Yeah, it's a beautiful state outside of Seattle. You know, like, we're far outside of Seattle, but it's a great place. A lot of rain, a lot of green. You know, according to some gravy I heard last night, it's like a really good place for electromagnetism. What do I think about rainbows? 6 colors or 7? You know what I'm saying. The 7-colored rainbow is God's promise, and the 6-colored rainbow is the inversion that's based around sodomy. What else? How to Slay a Wizard? I'm working on it right now. It'll be out within the year. Because my father taught persuasion, public speech, mass communication, which I now realized is brainwashing, you know? And my dad's a complicated figure, and I know, you know, my whole childhood, he'd teach me all this stuff. Like, I'd take college-level tests when I was like 8, 9 years old, and I saw you know, he's a wizard teacher, I saw what it did to him, and I still have a love for him, but has a lot of problems. And I want to honor my father, because that's one part about the Bible that I used to have problems with, was honor your parents, you know, and it's easy to honor my mother, but my father's a bit harder. But I think the way I can honor him is to teach other people how to see through the Tavistokian brainwashing that is being taught at college campuses. Yeah. Tesla what? I mean, Tesla, legend. Anything? I think Edison was a grabbler. He was always doing this. What's that? Since realizing the Earth is flat, what's the most mind-blowing thing I've also realized? I think that, no, let me think for a second. I think, yeah, nuclear bombs. I think nuclear bombs being fake, and this is the coolest part, is every single one of them, except for dinosaurs, lowered my fear and anxiety. You know, like, when you find out how many... You know, like NASA and Stephen Hawking and all these people, they sound identical to an abusive spouse, where it's like, you are small, you are nothing, you are insignificant. Don't leave me. That's what they're doing. They're like, look at the Milky Way. more grains of sand than all the beaches in the world, and you're just a speck, and you're just made because bacteria fucked, and then they fucked and mutated, and they mutated and fucked, and you're just gonna die. Like, literally, when you see it, it's like the beast that they are. They might as well be doing this. You are nothing. You are not made by God. You are just a mistake that will be corrected. I'm just like, fuck that guy. And I think that's one thing that I bring to the Flat Earth community is a lot of you guys are just really earthy, nice people. You need an alpha dog to just be like, fuck you people. Because a lot of you guys will just take the shaming and not say anything back, where people are like, oh, how dare you, you're stupid, you're so ignorant. And I don't think a lot of you guys know that you can not, the two streets that you've been given is Savanier being like, I'm the real king, everyone sucks but me, or just being meek, like being too like, just take it. It's like, no, stand your ground. You know, stand your ground and explain it to people and just say, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not gonna change, this is how I see the world. Look around, it ain't moving, bitch. Relax. Any more questions? What up? Joe Rogan flipping on 9/11 moon landing. It's a classic case of fancy pants and lollies. Where I think Joe Rogan was on a good, like not a good path, but he was on a path of like, I'm gonna say whatever I want, and I'm gonna say shit that's intriguing, and that's why I used to listen to him. And then he got to a point where I think he was signing deals. He was getting the millions from Netflix, millions from this, and people don't realize how much you have to give up for those development deals. You know, when I was on a famous, like a very highly watched sitcom, I made more money in 1 week than a lot of teachers will make in a year. And so I didn't have a problem giving that up because for whatever reason, I don't know. Money never really did it for me because some of my happiest memories were while we were very poor. So I have my flaws, I have my weaknesses, I have my sins, but that one never was one of them. I think a guy like Joe Rogan has his appetites and he's been fed for so long that someone said to him, I don't think he was threatened. I don't think it was like CIA threatening him with a dossier. I think it was just like, if you want your lollies and your fancies, if you want your sodomy behind the dumpsters, you're gonna have to keep saying what you say. Like, watch yourself. Because I've had handlers. I didn't know they were handlers. I thought they were just called agents. You know, where they basically say like, oh, we got a call, you might want to pump the brakes on. One time I had a development deal with Disney, and I pointed out that what was it? What was that? Ebola virus looked exactly like the Disney ears, like the Mickey ears. And I posted on like Facebook back in the day, and Disney had just paid me like $75,000 to be exclusive with me, you know. And I was like, dude, Ebola looks just like the devil mouse. And my agent was like, you got to take it down. I'm like, fuck no. I'm like, they'll think, this is how naive I was. I was like, they'll think it's hilarious. Those guys are great. Because I'd go to these meetings and everybody's high-fiving me and being like, we saw you do stand-up and you're so good. Oh, and I'm like, yeah, these Jews crush. And then I was like, no, they'll love it. And then when you don't take it down, they're like, yeah, they don't want to renew. And I'm like, did they get Ebola? That's a true story. Look at the Ebola thing. It's a fucking Mickey Mouse ears. Because this is the catch-22 with a guy like me, is what makes me so funny and what makes me marketable is the very thing that makes it not controllable. We're like, the thing that makes me crush at the Hollywood Improv is the very thing that I can't do both. I can't be like, oh, I'll censor and lie in this area, but not this area. Because when you're on a stage and somebody fucking sets you up with, you know, Cosmo soundtrack musical on the keyboard, you have to trust your instincts to be able to adapt. And if you're a liar, you can't. Because you keep losing those microseconds of like, can I say this? Will I get the fancies? You have to be in the moment. And so that's why I've been hired so many times almost as like this culture war mercenary, and then people are like, this has been a horrible mistake. Anybody else? No. That's like, here's the thing, and much love. I love that we didn't have the time to do a sound check because they were shooting a movie, and much love. But that's set up for someone Joe Rogan sized, and the sounds are insane. So I think I did a good job on the piano. We did the Coldplay thing, and now we're just gonna have maybe 2 or 3 more questions because I was gonna go until I got a little more time, maybe 15 more minutes. I mean, I do live streams every day. I'll play you any song you want. Just don't make me sit like the fucking Peanuts guy. What I think of what debate? I didn't see any of that. I was asleep. They were doing banners? I'm too big for that. I would have just started batting the planes down out of instinct. I'm just kidding. No, I was taking a snooze. See, I have like a homestead vibe. I have 2 kids, 8 goats, 45 chickens, 4 ducks, all this shit. So I wake up before the sunrise, and I go to bed after the sunset every day, working all day long. So it's like when I'm in a conference, I just slept the whole time. Like I was just like, because normally my life is like, man. I'm like, ah. So I just got some real good sleep. So I missed the banners, but it sounds breathtaking. What's up? What do I think about Greta Thunderbird? Greta Thunderbird is the product of bad parenting. You know, she didn't have a mom and she didn't have a dad. Her dad was cucked and her mommy was gone. And so she has a lot of inner turmoil that she's now going to blame on invisible forces called global warming that is nonsense. And it's a tragedy. But at the same time, that bitch can sit down. That's how I view it. I don't hate her. It's like I get it, but I'm not going to be browbeaten by a 15-year-old foreigner who looks like she has fetal alcohol syndrome. Yeah. Well, what do you think about Greta Thunderbird? Do you agree? You agree with me? Good. Thunder Tug. What's up? How to break the earth is flat with your kids? Never tell them it's round. That's why we're homeschooling. Like, we're going to get to a point. Guys, the homeschooling movement is growing. There's going to be a point where someone has a spinning ball and kids are like, what? Like, we're never going to introduce that concept to them. And then maybe I'll tell them about it. I'll be like, there's some silly men with the silly little hats. And they think, because here's the thing, it's not just Jews. It's anyone with weird hats. I figured it out. Because you got the Pope with the big boner hat. And then you got the Shriners with the weird hat. The way wizards work, this is all going to be in the book, is if you wear every wizard has to wear an absurd hat. And no one has to talk about it. Like, the Jewish hats are fucking retarded. They wear these tiny little condoms on their head, and no one says anything. They don't protect you from the sun at all. And then you have the Pope with his boner hat, and then you have the Shriners with their, like, upside-down cups on their head. When you see a guy with a weird hat, don't listen to them about the shape of the earth. Huh? What's that? Do baby boomer? How dare you? We went to the moon, millennial. What have you done besides picked up our scraps? When I was your age, I bought a house for 17 grand. Now all you do is have all this debt and shame. All right, what else you guys want? I don't do a Ben Shapiro impression. I can't remember how to do Don Pettit. He's like, look at the zodiacal lights. I could go back to the moon in a nanosecond if I wanted to. And you go up into the space, and there's the zodiacal lights. I love it, the space. Any other questions? How many Rogan stalls Red-Bull Rooster? 7.77. It's all very Freemasonic. Huh? I don't do an impression, but what do I think about Steven Crowder? I think he's a gatekeeper. You know, it's like I was working with him for a while, and I used to really like him, and then I realized, you know, one of the things that bonded us originally was that the trans kid thing, that I stood up for something in Hollywood, and I took the arrows, and people saw why everybody apologizes, because they just ground me into dust. Well, allegedly. And so he was there for me in that time. And so when I finally figured out one of the roots of the trans child movements is Teva Pharmaceuticals out of Israel, he shut his mouth. And I never respected him again. And then I just looked at him with a much deeper eye, and I realized it was all bullshit. Because under the BDSM, is that what it's called? You're not allowed to boycott Israel. So in certain states, you're not allowed to boycott Teva Pharmaceuticals, which has the monopoly on child sex change hormones. And so when you actually care and you try to figure out these mysteries, then you really realize who's getting paid by who and who actually cares about children and who just wants a plane. And so once I developed that disdain for somebody, I just fire up the old live stream and call him a sodomite 1,000 times. How many children do you have to be a man? That's a good question, man. I don't think there's an actual number, but I think what it is what makes you not a man is if you keep pulling out like a coward. If you're trying to have a child and you don't have one, you can still be a man. But if you avoid responsibility and you're like, I just want to feel good for me, then you're not a man. I'm going to make my wife take a hormone pill so her body thinks it's in her first trimester and it sterilizes her womb so I don't have to use a condom. Tee-hee, tee-hee. That's not a man. Don't sterilize your sex. Want to know who does that? Homos. It's true. It's like trying to turn the whole country into a gay disco. Disco, disco. Sucky, sucky. I need more. Challenger explosion. Oh, yeah. Well, I did that. I talked about that in my special conspiracy queries. You can. But remember the Challenger explosion when they wheeled out that little TV when we were kids? You know, I remember I was 6 years old and they said, Owen, a school teacher just like me is going to be in this rocket ship. And they like wheeled it out and we're watching. We're like, oh, this is going to be great. It's just all, and everybody just sat there like, I didn't know how to swear yet, but in my mind was, what in the fuck? And then no one spoke. They just wheeled it out. Like. And my grandmother, I didn't talk about this on the special because it's kind of a buzzkill, but one of the reasons I have some personal spite towards NASA is because now that I know that was a lie, I didn't go see my grandmother the last time before she died because I was scared to be on an airplane because they scared the fuck out of me for social control. So I'll always hate them for it. You know, we had the tickets ready to go, and I'm like, I don't want to get on that airplane. My parents are like, it's so safe. I'm like, they wheeled out a TV, and I watched it explode, Mom. And then it became this creepy horns or like a scorpion or some shit. You know, and that's the funniest thing about kids is like kids can see the symbols more than adults sometimes. I remember as soon as I saw that, I was like, that looks like horns or a scorpion. Why is it like that? And then everyone's like, that's just how they explode. And then 8 hours deep into Crow 777, I'm like, it's fucking symbols. Any more questions? Oh, we got a troll. Just kick him out. I never lied about anything. Real quick, is his real last name Arcade? It's like he made up. No, don't worry about it. It's fine. Do you really want to know the story? I'll tell you the story, but you're being inappropriate, but I will tell the story. So someone sent us these gummy bears, right? And I didn't think about it. I get sent stuff all the time. And then I get this long email, and then this guy, Johnny Arcade, I get trolls all the time. People make hit videos on me where they'll like just cut and paste me being like, I am a sodomite. You know, they're just cutting. And so I get a letter from this girl being like, I know Johnny Arcade or whatever the fuck his name is. And they're like, they poisoned those gummies. I had to tell you. Like, they just scared the shit out of me. I'm guessing it wasn't real at this point, but I reacted the way any father would react, and I called, we started working with the, what are those guys called? Not the sheriffs. I don't know, one of law enforcement people. And they started going through our mail for us. I didn't want to go through that. I didn't want to go through that, man. It was a bummer. I was scared, dude. I thought someone was trying to poison my kids. And then I found out that the letter from the girl was probably the troll. And so now I don't engage with any people like that. But here's the thing. I'll tell you a funny story. Huh? No, of course not. He's a terrible man who does terrible things. I'll never apologize for that. Ever. Yeah. No, I'll apologize okay, this is what I'll apologize to myself about, not to him. I owe him nothing. I'll apologize to myself for believing random letters that I thought someone did poison these gummies sent to my family, and it struck such an emotional chord in me that I didn't think enough, and I reacted, and I was angry, and my paternal instincts kicked in, and that's one of the ways people control people is through trauma-based mind control. And so I have learned from that experience, but if Johnny Arcade doesn't want to get kicked, he shouldn't poke. Yeah, he put himself in that position, and I don't give a shit. And I learned a lot. I learned that you don't want to get people involved in looking through your mail when you're a bear, because half my shit is weapons. You know, like, and they're sweethearts too, because law enforcement people are really cool. Like, they're the first people to tell you to get guns and stuff. They're cool. And I remember this detective that was working on that was like, we scanned your mail, and it looks like a machete. Or no, it was a hatchet. And it was sent to me from like a Green Beret who became a bear. And it was like, and it was such a funny conversation because we're like, oh no, that's legit. And she's like, what? I'm like, no, that's legit. It's definitely real. And she's like, you sure that's not like a threat? I'm like, no, I'm sure it's a special forces bear who probably is. Want to know what's so cool though is that guy had to pay to say that. I love that shit. And so, good. What's up? What do I think of David Weiss's actions lately? Everything Weiss does is like the wind beneath my wings. I fucking love David Weiss. David Weiss helped me through this process because he was just like, buddy, I get it. Just check out the app, bro. There's soothing music. It'll smooth it out. Just check out the app, man. We've all been there. The beauty is we're watching you go through what we had to do alone in our basements, man. Any more questions? Why does the truth about the shape of the earth matter? Because the mind control aspect of the spinning globe is to make you feel like you weren't created out of love. And what it is it's to say that the universe is in fact an emptiness that you can't fathom, like the blackened heart of a monster. You know, that when you look up, all it is mind-blowing emptiness to the point where you don't matter, you're a speck of nothing, and the speeds are so big you can't fathom. When you realize that that isn't true, and that there may be a plan for us, and that we're standing on solid ground that isn't spinning out of control, and we don't have to wait and wonder if an asteroid's going to wipe us out like the fake dinosaurs, you get a sense of peace and authority over your life that you would not have. It's actually one of the most mind-blowingly effective pieces of wizardry I've ever seen. Yeah. I'll tell you this. What the earth is not as important as what it is not. And rhetorically, if you're talking to people, it's a lot less about flat earth and more about the lie that is the spinning globe. Because giving people the wonder of what it could be is exciting, and don't take that from them. Thank you. What's that, bro? Private space program. Well, this is the thing about, I don't know if it's fluoride or music or what it is, but people always forget about Richard Branson. Richard Branson had 15 years and billions of dollars to complete one task, to take people into low Earth orbit and to land it successfully. So the private sector, which is what the Dan Crenshaws and Ben Shapiro's thinks is going to save the world. It's because of government bureaucracy. I'm a baby boomer. They haven't went back to the moon because the government can't do anything right. Okay, so Richard Branson gets 15 years, and at the end of it, what does he say? Does anyone know the quote? Space is hard. And now Elon Musk, who I'm pretty sure is an actor, has the same thing, and he can't accomplish shit either. And so all it is a series of empty promises, just like a father that abandons his children, where every Christmas everyone thinks he's going to come home, and you'll circle the block and take off again. You know, and you have to accept that your dad is gone and that you have to stand on your own 2 feet. Is this fun for you guys, or should I? All right. Couple more questions. Do I think President Trump knows the Earth's flat? 100%. He trolls Buzz Aldrin like it's hysterical. He's like, stand up, Buzz. And Buzz is like, it's all been a horrible lie. Yeah, 100% he knows. Dude, one of Trump's relatives got all of Tesla's papers. That dude knows some shit, man. I like Trump because he's funny, but I don't trust anybody that can become the CEO of United States, Inc. But if it's going to be someone, it's going to be someone that's funny. Because that's all I look for now. I don't look for truth in presidents. They're fucking presidents. But I want someone to talk shit. Who else? What's that? I wouldn't even be dog catcher, bro. I don't like that shit. No, he asked if I would be president because I'm funny. No, God, no. I love my life as is. I think politics is just meant to divide. It's pretty evil, but it's going to exist no matter what. Give Caesar Caesar's, but at the same time, it's like I hope he's funny. I would never want to live around snakes like that. I don't like being around anybody that sucks. Like that guy that asked that question. That's all of DC times 1,000 all the time. What do you think about the Ukraine? It's like I would kill somebody. Like I would just be like, eventually I'd snap. That's why I know my limits. Don't go to DC. Don't become a politician. Because I was originally thinking about getting a low-level government elected job in my town because I found a loophole that they can't kick you off Twitter. I'm all about loopholes. That's why Kanye West started churches, to not pay taxes. I hate to break it to you guys. But I was going to become like a dog catcher or some shit just so that I could have my blue check mark back and no one could fuck with me. But then I was like, no, I don't feel like doing that. End game for vaccines, I have no idea. I just know. This is my advice to people in a marriage where one person is for vaccines and one's against, is just sit down and review the contents. Because a lot of mothers are pro-vaccine because they love their babies and they want them to be safe and they want the shield. So they just don't know that there's like fetus cells and mercury and shit in there. And so if you actually just calmly say, you know, like let's just review. Like my kids had the first round of vaccines. I didn't know about it yet. And I wasn't vaccinated as a kid. But I didn't know that it was that bad. They never got more. They never got the one with the fetus shit in it, but they got some vaccines. And my next kids won't have vaccines, and my kids won't have any more vaccines. But, you know, I think they just are to subtly weaken people. I don't know, because it really does enter the realm of demonic, where it's like, it's not about money. At first I thought it was about money, like some scam, and then I'm like, I don't know what it is, man. I truly don't. I just know that they haven't proven their case that they're going to help anybody. And I've known a lot of parents that have had vaccine-injured children, so it's not something that you should ever be forced into. What's up? What's that? Chemtrails? What do I think they are? Again, I think it's either weather manipulation or to obscure the sky. You know, because there are heavy metals in them, but, you know, if you want to poison people, you kind of got to do it lower. You know, if you really want to spray, I know some farmers and shit, and Jungle Surfers talked about this, where it's like, to really crop dust, you got to like, it's so high that I feel like that has to do with, David Weiss thinks clouds are like people and they're trying to kill clouds, but, but I think it's I don't know, man. It could just be some sick fucker who's like, I just want to bum everybody out. I don't know. They're obviously something. What do you guys think? Does anybody know what they are? They're what? That could be it. That's the thing. I don't know. They're messing with ether? Well, there you go. I don't know anything about Tartaria or mudfloods. I haven't reached that level of gravy yet. That's a gravy overload. Tartaria. I like Tartaria sauce with fish. Is that what they named the sauce after? They're like, listen, we're going to erase the Tartarian Empire, but we'll give them a little credit. What? Kind of like this mayonnaise-y shit for fish. Tartar sauce. That's all they got left. They build all this shit, and all they get is tartar sauce. It's kind of like Caesar. All he got was a stupid salad. Like, it's like, is it a good salad? No, it's got some croutons, some lettuce. It's like $1. Any more questions? How did Hollywood steal our future? I do a whole video on that. It's called How Hollywood Stole Your Future. I've realized since then that they can't steal shit from you if you don't let them, but how they attempt to steal your future is they give you constructs and wizardry and images that aren't real until you choose your own demise. The laugh track video? Yeah. I mean, I just saw a video recently of Johnny Carson joking about Prince Andrew having sex with children. And it was like, the laugh track was like, send your nude nymphets. And it's like, ha ha ha. The laugh track is a way to make people think that there's a social consensus around something very, very bad. And Seinfeld was the epitome of it because it was 4 psychopaths. If you remove the soundtrack to the Soup Nazi, it's a hard-working guy who just wants order. And in comes the 4 psychopaths who ruin his life. They get his whole thing shut down, and then they cackle about it because they wouldn't get free bread. And the whole time you're getting, and they had a whole episode where they joked about aborting their kids, sneaking one past the goalie. And it's just like, it was insane. Everything's a scam and a sneak, and it's everyone else's fault. And then Cosmo is like clinically schizophrenic, and he just keeps coming in like, he's living off government money. He's a pervert. He's always dressed in, and you're watching this world of just disgusting people, and you're sitting around with your family signaling to your children like, this is what life is. That's why I only watch Little House on the Prairie. Yeah. If you're not running a homestead, building wheels and shit, I'm not putting it on the TV. Because as they say, every time you watch a Hollywood movie, say it with me, a Jew takes a dump on your soul. I'm glad you knew that. It's great. I love that David Weiss was on InfoWars. We all know Alex Jones is a sweaty shill, the big fat ass, but it's still he reaches more people. And that's why the flat earth community needs to pump the brakes on calling everybody shills that does shit like that, because he reaches people. This is how you can tell if someone's a shill or if someone is legit. Do they change? Like recently Crow did Coast to Coast. And like when Sargent did that commercial, I immediately saw what he was doing. It wasn't shilling. It was, do you change? Like a shill is someone who does one dance with one person and another dance with another. Like every joke I've done here tonight or everything I've said, I would have said 10 years ago on a Comedy Central special to my wife or kids, minus all the swearing and sodomy references. It's like, you just see, like, is the person doing dances and trying to promote themselves? Or are they just using another outlet to get the message across? And so I think it's a great triumph that people in your community can do stuff like that. And just, even though Alex Jones is a little meatball, little piece of shit, it's like, good for Dave Weiss. Pump those apps out there, buddy. What's that? Did Epstein kill himself? I don't know. He's probably not dead, but I don't care. They're all actors. It's like, I used to be on the show Punked. Remember the show Punked? All right, I'll do like, I was supposed to go until what? Like 10 or some shit? I'll do another 10 minutes. Okay, so this is how Punked works. Do you guys, do I gotta explain the show? Do you remember Punked? It was like you humiliate celebrities. And I was one of the cast members of that show for a whole season, right? And so what you do is you lock down a location and you get key people in there. Like in one episode, I was a guy with a tranquilizer gun with a gorilla. Another episode, I sprayed a bunch of people with a fire hose. Another episode, I was punking 3-6 Mafia, and I was pretending I was in an incestual relationship with my sister in a mansion. You know, like, so those people didn't know what was happening, but the key people in the scene did, and we had the location on lockdown. I'm explaining to you how FEMA works. But, so what it is, I didn't know any of this at the time. I'd never looked into hoaxes or anything, but the way it works is people script this shit. And on Punked, it was, I got to see how that all works, and I was good at it. You know, I could keep a straight face and do the funny stuff. But there's a scripting of reality that people don't realize. Like Punked, you know what's happening. They explain it to you on TV, and they say, here we are with Ashley Parker Angel, and he thinks his wife is being attacked by a gorilla. Little does he know that we have Owen, and I got a gun. Like, you know, that's like Sandy Hook. You know, it's the same shit. It's just like the nightmare version. Like one's comedy and one's horror. And I think a guy like Epstein, it's to the point where I don't even know what an Epstein is. Like, what is that? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was played by multiple people. Yeah, it's a character. It's a construct. And so, did he kill himself? Obviously, he didn't kill himself. Was he murdered? I don't know. Probably not. It's like, I feel like that whole jail was on lockdown. It's like when you see the Manson murderers wearing like earrings and shit and Supermax. It's like the devil's in the details, man. And you see this shit and you're like, this is my dream, is that all of these sick people that are doing all this to us, to traumatize us and all this, people stop believing it to the point where it just keeps shrinking until they're just LARPing in a Holiday Inn somewhere. You know, where they're like, I'm going to be the suicidal pedophile, tee-hee, and no one cares. Everyone just got goats, and they're like, you guys do your own thing. Because that's the only way out. You can't directly do anything to them. You have to just kind of disengage. Don't take their loans. Don't watch pornography. Don't watch movies. Don't believe what you see on the news. And then from there, you can recenter yourself and live and thrive. Because you don't have the right to kill them, to punch them, to hurt them, to hang them. Like, that's where people take the ticket and end up in a worse position. Like, it really is about the deadly sins. Like, you can't engage in wrath. You know, they got us with lust for a while, and now they're trying to get wrath in there. Like, strike him down, young Skywalker. No, Homestead. What's up? They serve a purpose, all right. Holocaust museums, they serve a purpose to keep Jews in a constant state of victim. See, this is the thing. This is why a lot of people in Israel watch my stream. You know, it's like how I didn't get to it tonight, but I can do the music in a woman's head versus a man's head and all that. And people couldn't believe that women would laugh so hard. Because I'm clearly making fun of women, and they're doubled over laughing because it's true. So when I make fun of Jewish victimhood, and Jews will laugh. Some don't. Some freak out, but fuck them. Just like the girls are like, Gary, do not laugh at him, mock me. It's like, don't, just break up with her. She's dead wood. Just dead weight. If you can't laugh through problems, man, you're going to have a hard marriage. And it's the same with Jews. It's like the Holocaust narrative is hurting Jews more than anyone else. They truly believe, a lot of them do, they watch these Spielberg movies, which means Spielberg. Break down the words. Lie, spiel, right? And so they watch these movies and they think that everyone hates them and that at any time some blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aryan's going to throw them in a well and turn them into a lampshade and shit. And so they're in a constant state of like, what is next, genocide? And it hurts them. You know, some shit went down. I cannot unravel World War II. I can do the dinosaurs. But like, I was a World War II history major. I lived in the Czech Republic studying the Holocaust and studying Holodomor and all this stuff. And it's like, I still can't get it. But it's total, something is so off about all of it that I'm just like, shit happens. It was 80 fucking years ago. You know, let's figure out Vegas first. But it's like, it's the victim shit that's the problem. And the Jews have suffered. The irony of the Jewish suffering is so hilarious. They're not suffering the way they say they're suffering. They're suffering because they're viewing themselves as victims. According to Pew Research study, 70% of Jews, the number one thing that they consider defines being a Jew is remembering the Holocaust. Imagine if you're an 80-year-old woman and you said the number one thing that makes you who you are is remembering a rape from when you were 10. That's a hellish existence. And mocking it frees them, it doesn't hurt them. What's up? Freedom! Couple more? What's up with Kanye West? He doesn't want to pay taxes, and he wants to sell socks. What? He just got paid $300,000 from Joel Osteen. Put it together. I believe in you. You think Kanye found Jesus or he found 503Cs? Definition of logos is the word, which is Jesus Christ incarnate. But it's the word. That's what Jesus was the word of God in person telling it to you. But the word, and it's almost like how they say Eskimos have like 40 words for ice and shit like that. It's like the word is so powerful about all the things it means. Logos is also a derivation of logic, you know, and a logo. And then you see the upside down where, who's that guy who owns He owns MTV, Comedy Central. Redstone. Yeah. He created a channel all about sodomy called Logo because he was trying to invert. You know, he's trying to make the word the upside down. And so why would you make a channel all about homosexuality and call it Logo? I'll tell you why. You're trying to invert the word, and the word is what is true. You know, that's why churchianity, which is like, you're not being a Christian today because you didn't do the right thing that my church says. It's such bullshit. My Christianity, like my belief is just what is true. And over time, I've just realized that the Bible just keeps being true and my science books keep being false. Yeah. What's up? Yeah, like the 9/11 shit on the dollar bills. I think a lot of that is just creepy, grabbly lie, like just bullshit. It's just people being like, "Oh, we're gonna put it in your folded." You can see, yeah, they knew about 9/11 so far before, and they were just. I just don't want to give them the satisfaction of just giving a shit. You know, if they want to play their little sneaky one-eye games and shit, you know, everybody feels the same way when they get punched in the face. Don't do that. But I'm just saying, life is physical and very real, and when people don't have food for 48 hours, I don't think anyone gives a shit about dollar bills. When you hold a baby or when you're hungry, the last thing you care about is what the grabbers are doing on the back of a dollar bill. No one's having more fun than us. And I know a lot of you guys experience that here, where you see people having joy. Like there's gratitude in this room. You know, in this whole conference, you see people like the relief to be around people that you know aren't going to demean you for being curious and speaking truth. And it's fun. You know, and I know it sounds ironic sometimes when I'm just yelling how fun something is. It's fun. But it is, and people need to know that. And sometimes, no offense to you guys, but sometimes you're a little soft-spoken. And you're just like, just quietly having fun. And I get it, it's awesome, but like, assert yourself. It's fun, you know? All right, so what's up? What else you guys got? What's next for Unauthorized? We just added Wrangler Star. Yeah, Wrangler Star, he's this big, you know, over 1 million subs on YouTube, and he's a homesteader out of Oregon who everything on his property, he's a Christian, everything, bunch of kids, everything on his property. Like, Unauthorized is not as political as people thought it was. It's more about gardening, homesteading, history, like non-grabbled history, you know, whatever it is I do, just yelling at the moon. And so, yeah, I recommend you guys all become subscribers to unauthorized.tv, my newest special. You're Doing Great, Kid just came out. We self-produced a special, and our goal was to make it the production quality better than Netflix, and I think we accomplished it. And I was kicked out of every theater, so we did it in an airplane hangar. And then I almost took one of the planes to Antarctica, because I identify as a penguin. I look like a what? Stop objectifying me. I'm just kidding. Now I gotta work on my penguins. I can go to Antarctica and be like, I'm a penguin. I know I'm not legally allowed to be here. All right, let's do 2 more questions. The coolest thing I learned about flat Earth? That the world made sense. that everything wasn't because I didn't know something. It's like that I didn't need somebody with a fucking white lab coat to talk down to me when I have almost a 150 IQ. You know, like, see, this is something about me, and I know I've said that a few times on my stream, and people are like, I brag much? And I'm like, no, it's a very important point, because it takes away that whole argument, where it's like, you're too dumb to understand, and I'm like, bitch, my IQ's higher than every professor at Oxford University. So I know that, because, like, my parents were some of those weirdos that would, like, test us as kids a lot and shit, you know, like, and it's like, so that didn't work on me, because that does work on some of you, because you don't know how smart you are, and I don't even think IQ means as much as I once did, because I know some high IQ people, and all they do is just meticulously make up fake shit. So what I'm trying to say is that argument never worked on me, where they were like, you just don't understand because you're not smart enough. I'm like, I am, though, so do a better job. Like, your white coat doesn't fucking sell it, or your little lizard tongue on your little ball. And I think it also helped that I was so physically dominant, too, where I'd just be like, make sense in 5 minutes or I'll beat you to death. Just kidding. Don't do that. 5G I don't even think about, because I can't control it at all, so if it rains, it rains. That's why I don't really think about chemtrails, because 5G sounds bad. Like, I'm fine with 4G. Like, 5G sounds like they're trying to, I don't know if it's about heat, but they're trying to make it so fast that they can have an Internet of Things. You know, I don't want my fucking fridge to be able to, like, figure out what I eat, but at the same time, you can just not have a fridge. And also, I can't stop it, so I don't put my energy towards it. You know, I like vaccines. I put a lot more attention towards, because I plan on having more children, and I have children, so that's something that directly will affect my life, and my choice will matter tremendously. But 5G, it's not like people are like, so do you want to erect this tower today? I'm like, I don't have that power, so whatever happens, you know, if they try to fry my balls, I'll just have to fucking get more jizz strength or whatever. You're fired up. I like it. I don't care about impeachment. Bill Nye, my wife's a stay-at-home mother, and she's more scientifically qualified than Bill Nye. My wife she got her master's degree with honors in structural engineering from USC. Bill Nye just ran around trying to finger chicks. Like, he's a pervert, dude. Fact, I've talked to him. I've interviewed Bill Nye. Dude's a creep. He does this with his fingers. Ew, I know. Don't try to, except for Tucker Carlson, I don't respect anybody that wears bow ties. Michael Jones, oh yeah, he's the man. I might have been a little hasty. I'm working on it, man. This month it didn't work, but turns out it's another month of fucking for me. I want to have as many kids as I can, man. Family is wealth. I love you too, man. All right. What? I don't hate vegans. I hate annoying people. If a vegan just is a vegan and doesn't tell me about it every 8 seconds, I have no problem with veganism. But if a vegan is constantly like, oh my God, are you eating turkey? I'm eating tofurkey because it's cruelty-free. I want to show them a world that is not cruelty-free. Because, as we all know, to harvest soy, you have to kill thousands of rabbits. So there is no cruelty-free in this world. But I have no problem with dietary people. Like, if someone chooses not to eat certain things, great, love it. But if you think that that's somehow morally superior to my choices, I will mock you for years. You know? It's about the moral shit. It's about being like, oh, I would never eat meat. I don't believe in cruelty. That's what bothers me. But people just being vegan does not bother me one bit. In fact, there's probably a great argument for it, you know? What's that? Eating meat? Yeah, but don't make it seem like, you know, don't be like, yeah, we used to be one of you. I'll eat you. You're probably tasty. You're a little grass-fed little bitch. I'll put a little Dave Weiss's hot sauce on you. I don't know. I used to be you too. Don't act like prey, and I won't treat you like prey. We used to be where you were too, didn't we, Betsy? Because I think if I was going to eat a person, it would be someone that didn't eat meat because it'd be less toxic. I'm not saying I'm going to eat you, but I'm not. Like if I ate a vegan, you know, I don't think you get kuru from that shit. I think it's just going to keep growing because I mean, NASA's lies are getting absurd. And I like David Weiss's approach where you got to go full globe because you can wake people up to NASA. You can like the moon landing. You can wake them up to like ISS or dinosaurs, and they'll just go back to watching the Kardashians and fucking chewing cud. But if once you go full globe, like that the globe's a lie, you can't go back anymore. You know, and so I think that's important to do. And I think it's less important that to convince people that the earth is flat, but to show people that Copernicus was a grabbler. All right, last question, guys. I can tell you guys are getting a little tired. I don't get tired, by the way, because I eat a lot of meat, so I have a lot of energy. There it is. You see that? It's just like this is one deer, and that's an elk, and I just push boulders. Huh? Push-up contest? No. I'd lose. Is that the dude that told me he quit whacking off because of me? Yeah, he's got a lot of energy. All right, last question. Let's make it good. Huh? What? How do you buy land? Okay, so 2 more questions. I'll help you with it. It's Zillow. This Zillow app. We'll get to the bottom of it. Is Dave Weiss the conscience of the movement? No. I think Dave Weiss is a great member of the movement, but I don't think you should ever put the consciousness of anything on a living man. Okay, 1 more question. I don't want to go anywhere. What's that? Huh? Karma? Reincarnation and karma? Ah, dude, I don't fucking know. I just found out about dinosaurs, bro. I don't believe in reincarnation, but I'm not mad that you do. But I like karma's real in a sense where I think that what you do comes back to you in a way. But I don't know. It's not. I haven't really studied that much. What's that? Power of manifestation? I don't know about that. I think discernment is what you get. Like I don't think I don't think that you can like make things. I don't think that if you like wish and hope you get like some shit. But I think that if you let your yes mean yes and your no mean no, your veils drop from your eyes and you see things that you didn't used to see. And I think that's what people should strive for, not for anything material. Like to manifest to me sounds material, you know, versus you want discernment. You want to be able to see as much as you can. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here, but I love you. Thanks for having me. Good night. Peace.